I hate when it does that now.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests. I guess one of them we can play this for. Welcome back, Chris Karalis, first timer on Ron Siegel Radio. Josh Gullissarian. I knew I was going to do it wrong, and I'll probably do it wrong the rest of the day as well.
Okay, I'm used to it.
Advantage First. Good morning, Bob Donnell. Glad to have you with us. Advantage First. We're going to talk about this. This is something that I'm learning a little bit about because I'm going to tell you, 10 years ago, kind of like a reverse mortgage. I tell everybody, prior to 1985, the reverse mortgage was the biggest scam, horrible product there was on the market. After 1985, great product. I put my parents in it. Debt consolidation. They had a lot of bad vibes about this 10 years ago. Not now. We're going to learn about that today. So we're going to chat about that one. And then remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating it. I don't know if you celebrate this one. I know, I just met Josh. I can't say anything about him. Chris and I do know today is World Mental Health Day. It's definitely an issue, Chris, for us. I mean, not to belittle people that have mental health issues, but you and I, we know where we stand.
There's a reason why I'm here.
That's it, exactly. We've also got, I don't know about this one, National Cake Decorating Day. I do more of magic with cake. I make it disappear. So decorating it, okay, so you decorate it and then you make it disappear. And today is National Angel Food Cake Day. Having beaten anorexia, that's a little bit better. I'll go with that one. So, and we're going to definitely stay away from this one because I don't know if my wife's listening. Today's National Handbag Day.
It is what it is.
Josh, you married?
Yes.
So you better be careful if your wife's listening to this one. You might have to bring something home with you.
Yeah, she will definitely buy a handbag.
Okay. So let's see. My wife doesn't listen to the broadcast, so I'm lucky. And we don't want to talk about you. Okay, not even going to go there.
Yeah.
Okay, Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 260 points right now. The S&P 500 is up 46. The NASDAQ is up 163. Oil's down 63 cents a barrel. And the 10-year Treasury down 17 basis points right now, 463. And yes, I will talk about the elephant in the room, and I'm not referring to my size. So why is the market doing what it's doing? Well, the bond market was closed yesterday for Columbus Day. And we all know, if you're alive and if you watch any news, any television, other than the Taylor Swift and Jason Kelsey events, you know that what happened in the Middle East. It's not a joke. But and I'm not going to try and be the news coverage of all of this. There's plenty of people that are doing news coverage of it. You don't need to come here for that. What I am going to share with you is, over my many decades in the mortgage world and financial services, one thing that we can always, there's two things we can always anticipate. One thing is, when there are events like this, there is a flight to safety. What does that mean? Well, money goes into the bond market. That means there's a lot of demand for bonds. So the price of the bond goes up, which means the yield generally is going to go down. So it's just an inverse relationship. So you can see right now, the 10-year Treasury is down 17 and almost 18 basis points. If I look over at the mortgage-backed securities are right now are up 67 basis points. That's a very, very large move, especially in light of the fake jobs report that came out last Friday. Yes, I'll tell you why it's a fake jobs report in the Mortgage Minute. But in light of that report, we're seeing that the mortgage-backed securities are up. The other thing that I will tell you that always happens, and this doesn't matter whether it's a tragedy like we're seeing in the Middle East or Ukraine or the jobs report or any other issues, the markets will always, always, always overreact. So we're seeing right now that the bond market, the mortgage-backed securities, as I mentioned, they're up dramatically. The stock market is up. Generally, we would have expected the stock market to be down, but when we look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, why would we see the Dow Jones Industrial Average up so much? Well, what's some of the biggest components of the Dow Jones Industrial Average? Boeing, Northrop Grumman, right? These are all defense contractors, make up a lot of that. So unfortunately, there's going to be a lot more spending in military issues. So you can see why those stocks are going up right now. The bond market is down. When the bonds go down, as far as the yield goes down on bonds, well, that's generally a good sign for the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's up 162 points. We would have expected oil to be up much more, but we're not seeing that, thankfully. But we are still seeing that the gas prices, we don't even want to talk about gas prices here in the formerly Golden State, because we're still, I'm sorry, Gavin, I don't believe what you said at all, which I generally don't. $5.76 a gallon of gasoline right here in the formerly Golden State. Now, I tell you that because Gavin says that the oil companies are sticking it to, they're gouging pricing. Really? Then why is my tremendous underwriter Lori paying $3.21 a gallon in Louisiana? Because they're going to go after California more? I don't think so, Gavin. It's because of your taxes and fees. Finally, at least he's vetoing some bills that are dealing with some of these taxes and fees, but that's a whole different story. We'll talk about this. We're going to talk a little bit about what the effect this is having on the bond market. We're going to talk about the fake jobs report. Can you believe the government's manipulating numbers?
It is what it is.
Yeah, they do that all the time. So with the government manipulating numbers, I'll tell you exactly what they're manipulating, what they did last Friday in their manipulation. I'll show you exactly what that is. We're going to also talk, are grandparents moving to be closer to their grandkids? What else do we have? How to find and compare debt consolidation loans. I don't know if we'll get to that, but we'll get to all that and more. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numero 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel anytime. At 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. All kinds of products right now. No, you don't have to have a traditional job. We're helping people that do not have traditional jobs. Got the bank statement loan, got the transition loan. We've got a VOE loan, I-10, foreign nationals. They've got all of them. But you know what they need you to do? Pick up the phone, make that call. Again, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. No, they don't tell us points paid, points received, or APR. They just give us the locked rates. And these are from Friday. The bond market was closed yesterday for Columbus Day. So what did the rates do on Friday? 7.631 was the 30-year conforming loan. 7.631. 30-year jumbo loan, surprisingly, was locking a little bit lower than conforming, 7.629. 30-year FHA, 7.27. 30-year USDA, that's generally, the rural areas, generally no down payment. That one there, 7.43. And the best loan on the market for those that earned it, you cannot just apply. That would be the 30-year VA loan, 7.243. Don't forget, strategy beats rate always. Strategy beats rate always. We're showing folks that, and again, this is all the same numbers as we did yesterday because obviously we do radio every day and the rates are just from Friday. So I just want to throw that out there. But remember, I say strategy beats rate always because we're showing folks strategies to reduce those numbers by 1.5% many, many times if you understand the right way to do it. I'm showing a couple of families right now how to do it. They'll probably go into escrow on new purchases. Now, every morning, as early as we can, I should say every weekday, every business day morning, because we didn't do it yesterday because the bond markets were closed. We do send out what we call our Market Minute. You can sign up for that free, rsrmarketminute.com. It's an email we send out, generally about a page or two, that gives you what our market commentary is for the day. We have to wait until we get some of the numbers, so it varies by time, but rsrmarketminute.com. Let's see what's going on today in the market. So we're looking at the S&P 500 up 48.24 right now. 10-year Treasury down 17 basis points. Mortgage-backed securities up 66. Remember, that's the bond is up 66 basis points. When the bond goes up, rates go down. Always. It's just a mathematic function. So it's not like sometimes it works that way always. Rates up, and that means the bond goes down, the bond goes up, the rates go down. Again, just mathematics. So let's talk about what's been driving the market. Obviously, geopolitical events drive the market. There's nothing we can do about that. We never know when it's going to happen. We just know that when they happen, we've got to adjust for it. The irony is sometimes we do know, historically right now, we especially, for the last 12 jobs, or every jobs report this year, we've had a significant change to the jobs report. That's called 12 standard deviations for those of you that are statistical nerds like me. Generally, if we can get our forecast within 1 to 2 standard deviations, that's great. This is 12 standard deviations. So why does that happen? How is it happening? Well, when you put manipulated data out, that's how it works. So what did the government do this time? Is there something that most of us recognize that happens in September? Now, if you're old like me, you can think, okay, what are my grandkids doing in September? If you're young, you might say, what are my kids doing in September? They're going back to school. Most of them. Sometimes it's late August, but for the most part, they go back to school in September. Who's running the classroom? Teachers. Teachers go on unemployment for a couple of months, or they're allowed to in many instances, go on unemployment during the summer months so they get some money coming in. They go back to work in September. The government counted those as new jobs. Doesn't that surprise you that the government would do something like that?
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
In most areas, they call that seasonal adjustments, so it doesn't get counted that way. But not this time. So when we look at the data, and this is according to Lacey Hunt, great researcher of rates, found it interesting that raw data from the BLS actually showed 885,000 job losses. Wait. But we had 336,000 gains was what was reported. But the raw data says 885,000 job losses. Seasonal adjustments are normal and help to smooth out the data, but they're not always done correctly. Of the job gains, 70,000 were from teachers. But that should be seasonally adjusted out because teachers are always coming back to work around this time of year. Retail jobs totaled 20,000, but looking at other reports like Challenger Job Cut report, it showed a big rise in retail layoffs. Leisure and hospitality were up significantly in the jobs report, but hotel occupancy in other reports fell sharply. Some things are not living in the report, and the economy actually lost a ton of jobs, but it was seasonally adjusted higher by, are you ready for this one? Can't make this up. Adjusted by 1.2 million jobs. Think about that. And you wonder why the jobs report looked good. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's chat. And I'm going to give you some background here because that's what we do on Ron Siegel Radio. Chris Karalis, Josh Golisarian.
Hey,
Did I get closer?
That was
good.
Got it. Okay. Well, you know something. What I basically have to do is I say, okay, how many people call me Seagull? So now I think Golisarian.
There you go.
Okay, so we might be able to remember it. Okay, so they're with a company called Advantage First, and I'm going to share with you that probably 10 years ago, give or take, maybe it was a little bit more than that. There was probably even more than that because it was right at the time of the
2008
Great Recession. Yeah. There were programs out there. There were debt consolidation, and I used to refer to them as the Great American Scam. What was the product? What was the program? What was the process? So basically, you'd go to a company, and they would say, and they'd collect all of your debts, and they'd say, okay, John, you've got $50,000 in debts, credit cards, autos, whatever you want to get rid of. What we're going to do is we're going to collect money from you. They're going to put it into a formula, and we're going to collect that money. We're going to charge you a fee, and after we take our fee out, then what we're going to do is we're going to start negotiating with your creditors. And what we'll do is after we've taken our fee, they get paid first. They'd say, okay, now we've got $1,000 and you've got a $10,000 Visa bill. We're going to go to Visa and offer them $1,000 for it because they've already got that much money from you. Visa says no, so they go to Discover and they make the offer to them. Well, they keep going to all your creditors until nobody accepts it. What do? They wait till next month. They collect some more money from you. They take their fees first, and then they go and they start the whole process again. Does the company have to accept any offer? No. Does the company stop their collection efforts on you? No. Does it work? Rarely. It was a bad program. It was a bad product. And I found out from my friend Chris Karalis that a lot of people that were doing that, they ended up getting free room and board and a new set of jewelry. It's called silver bracelets. Not good. They were in jail.
Right.
So what I want to find out from you guys is what are we doing here? Is this the same thing? Is it
No, it's much different.
Okay, so explain that to us, Josh.
It's much more regulated now. The Fed stepped in. They slapped on a bunch of regulations, right? And it's much more reputable than ever before. There's the American.
Well, it had to have been more reputable than it was.
Oh, yes, 100%. And so, and the unfortunate part is all those people that got burned have a bad taste in their mouth.
Sure.
Too, right. Still today. And so, but now there's the American Fair Credit Council. It's a very prestigious organization who helps regulate and watches over a lot of the servicing that's done to make sure it's following federal regulation and compliant, right, as well. Because there's still companies out there that you might find that might charge people up front. So you just got to be careful. And so it's not charged up front anymore? No, not at all.
Okay, so the other thing is it was the money previously was just going into a general fund.
It was going to the company.
Right.
It was apparently going to do the servicing. They kept asking for more money from clients once they get a settlement.
Does this sound like Sam Bankman-Fried somehow?
Maybe. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work that way anymore.
Nope. No. So now the consumer or the client's going to get into the program. They're going to make their new payment, which is usually half on an aggregate of what they were paying before, which is great. So, and then they're going to make that payment into an account. It's an FDIC insured account that's established in the client's name only,
Wow. Okay.
So
That's
it's
a big difference right there.
So it's protected, right? 'Cause
Right.
they have full access for that account. Meanwhile, the servicing's done with the creditors. There's no upfront cost or anything. The client just makes the new payment, right? And voluntarily stops making their payments to the creditors. So they're hungry for money as well. The credit card companies or lenders that are
They
out
want to
there.
get paid.
Exactly. So 3-6 months go by, we're already seeing a lot of results usually with the credit card companies, and it's an aggregate of like 50% off too, typically on what they owe. So if someone owes 100 grand, we'll see it go down to maybe 50,000, right, on their new balance for their debts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we come back, I want to talk about how long does it take me to get this whole process done? Am I going to get sued? And I got about 17 other questions.
Okay, good.
We're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Are grandparents moving to be closer to their grandkids? All that and more. Reach me anytime off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments, paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Great app, not just because I'm the one that gives it to you. It's free to you, but it monitors your credit score, monitor your bank account, asset accounts, monitor the value of your real estate. Going to give you 4 different sources in most instances. 3 of them are good. We're going to show you Zillow as well because we know you want to see that. And 97% of the properties on the market for sale are also on the app, rsrmoney.com. Our grandparents moving to be closer to their grandkids? Not the kids. I've got a grandson. Can I skip the middle step? Can I go right from being me and my wife to the grandkids, skip the kid stage? Although it is Mitchell's birthday today, so I guess I have to be nice to him.
Oh, wow.
During the pandemic, many people distanced themselves from their loved ones for health reasons. Grandparents were told to stay away from their grandkids, especially as schools started open. That's because it would have been risky to visit their grandchildren who may have gotten sick from school. Now that the pandemic has passed, many grandparents want more than ever to be near their grandchildren again to make up for the lost time. But how are they getting that grandparent wish? The data tells us many are moving to make sure they're getting more quality time. Grandparents are moving to be near the loved ones. Recent data from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, shows people between the ages of 55 and 74 are moving farther, more than 100 miles, than any other age group. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart. Grandparents are moving farther away. 55 to 64-year-olds, 58% are moving more than 100 miles. 65 to 74, moving more than 56% of them are moving. 75 and older, 40%. Don't forget about the transition loan from Geneva Financial. This is great for grandparents because you've probably got a lot of equity. How about buying the new house before you even put the old house on the market? Think about that. It's a transition loan. Great product. The average age of grandparents in the U.S. is 67 years. I am not there yet. The logical leap is that at least some of the people who are moving the furthest are grandparents. But what's causing them to move so far? The same report from NAR shows the top reason people are moving is to be closer to loved ones. Sellers want to be closer to loved ones. This is the next graph that we have. Top 5 reasons why sellers sold. 21% want to be closer to friends or family. 11% moving due to retirement. 11% neighborhood became less desirable. 10% house too small. 9% change in family situation, marriage or divorce. Based on this data, it's fair to say many grandparents are getting their wish of more quality time with their grandchildren by moving to be closer to them. And after experiencing isolation and loneliness during the COVID pandemic, that's an especially good thing. If you're a grandparent, you know how important your grandchildren are, and you may be willing to sell and move just to be closer by. As Vance Cariaga, a journalist at Go Bank Rates, explains, quote, never underestimate the power of grandchildren, especially when it comes to lifestyle and financial decisions. Recent data shows that many baby boomers are relocating further away from home than they used to so they can be closer to their grandbabies. Bottom line, the data shows grandparents are moving further to be near their grandchildren. If you have grandchildren of your own, maybe you can relate. If not, you will. When you decide it's time to be closer to your loved ones, give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And again, don't forget the transition loan from our friends over at Geneva Financial. Buy the new home before you sell the old home. Maybe you're not making any payments on either of them. I like that one. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Going to continue our conversation this morning. Chris Karalis, Josh Gulasarian, Advantage First. Did I get it right twice?
You got it. Yeah.
Jeez.
Nicely done.
Okay. I'm guaranteed to mess it up in the next segment. Okay, so we're talking about debt consolidation, and we've learned quite a bit. If you missed the last segment, you missed a lot. Shame on you. It'll be available on Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube and all of our social channels. So we're talking, let's talk hypotheticals. I'm really good at hypotheticals.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I did a segment on what we call as the RSR2step.com. RSR2step.com. You can go and see that anytime you want to. And it was basically somebody had bought a $400,000 property 4 years ago. They refinanced it 2 years ago. They have a 3.25% interest rate. We're going to a 7.25% interest rate. Hypothetical numbers, don't take me. It's just examples. The APRs and everything else is right there on rsr2step.com. They had $104,000 in that example in consumer debt. $104,000. What in a generic world? And that was I think we had one car and 3 credit cards, a MasterCard, a Visa, and a Discover.
Okay.
There might have been one other item, but I think that was basically it. 104,000. Roughly, what are we going to be looking at in a settlement for something like that? Is there a rule of thumb?
Around 100,000.
104,000 in debts.
Yeah. On an average, it's around 50% off.
Okay, we're not going to hold you to it. I mean,
It's an aggregate, so
Okay.
it's typically half.
So it's about 50% is what they're gonna see as far as savings.
And sometimes it's even better, but it's an aggregate.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to throw pie in the sky. We don't want to over promise. What is it? So you're going to save 50. So on this one here, we're going to save 52,000. Roughly, what's that going to cost them to do that for the negotiations?
The negotiation ranges, it's around 25% of
Okay.
the debt amount, right? And if you can, so you can safely say from 100 grand, $75,000 or less is what
Okay.
they'll end up paying.
So you're going to basically you can look for like about a 25% haircut.
Not only that, but the interest that they would have paid above and beyond 100,000 on the credit cards, right? Which can translate into triple.
Sure.
Usually with the daily compounding interest they charge.
Right.
So, I mean, and that could take 15 years, right? And then they wouldn't have to give up equity in their home or anything like that, or take a higher rate either.
Okay.
And the great news about that 25%, a lot of people probably slammed on their brakes right now saying there's no way I'd ever pay that. But here's the reality. 25% service fee equates to about 5.6 as an annual percentage rate. So it's substantially cheaper. It's actually
So they're not paying interest on it anymore once it goes into the debt settlement.
They will for a minute for the first few months. They'll
Okay.
still pay interest. They might see fees accumulate, but all that gets negotiated against when they get the reductions.
And do you do unsecured debt as well as just credit cards?
All unsecured loans, credit cards, even private student loans.
Private student loan, okay.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that our friends over rsrstudentloanhelp.com will take care of the government student loans. But you can go to rsrstudentloanhelp.com. They've got the calculator right there for you for that one. But it sounds like, so how long does this take?
It just depends. I mean, it's usually, it depends on the debt amount more than
Okay.
anything, but roughly a little over 4 years, 55 months, right, is kind of our average for if you owe over 35,000. If you get over like 60, 70,000, we can stretch it out a little bit longer. But the good news is there's no prepayment penalties. So if you have the ability to pay extra, we always encourage you to do so, because the bottom line is, the client's going to be in control of getting out of debt rather than the creditor controlling.
So let me understand this, because if we're talking about 4 years, say, or 4 to 5 years, so are you negotiating it before it's paid? It's not like the old one where you waited until they would accept a certain amount of money?
So basically, they're going to pay into an escrow account.
Okay.
It's open in their name. They're building funds. The negotiations happen, and then once it happens, the servicer will collect a portion of the fee, right, for that particular debt. So everything gets spread out over this 4.5-year term.
So,
right,
but you've
doing
already
so.
know how much how much it's settled for before you start making these payments.
Not before, not necessarily. We base it. Well, they'll base it on historical data of what they've already gotten before with that particular creditor.
So is the creditor going to start getting money during that 4-year period, or are they not getting any money?
Yeah, they will.
So they're getting a piece of their debt repaid,
Stretched out. Yeah, like let's for example, if you owe,
Say I owe $20,000 to Bank X,
then it gets reduced to 10.
Right.
Then they'll say, okay, well, we're going to spread out this new balance of 10,000 over 20 months or whatever, $200 a month, right? Whatever it ends up working out to be, to pay that creditor off, right?
Okay.
And then a portion of the fees collected because they negotiated that particular settlement, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one good thing is the terms can go up to 60 months. Now we picked a 44-month term. Here's the reality of this. We've had clients where we get them out of debt.
48 months is 4 years. Just throw that out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
55.
Public education here, guys. So if it makes sense for the client, we could do shorter terms. And in many cases, we could have people out of debt in 18 to 24 months. Again, that number is based off something that allows them to have some money in their pocket, and they're not strapped with credit card payments.
So they can go through, and so one of the things that I'm contemplating here is if they qualify and they go and they watch our video from yesterday, or our replay from yesterday, where we talked about RSR student loan, RSR two-step, rsrstwostep.com. And we were just going to do a refi and pay off the entire $104,000.
Mm-hmm.
If they had gone through your process first, and now they've got a $50,000 agreement, hypothetical, we're not giving any exacts. They've got a $50,000 and they've got their $20,000 or $25,000 in fees. They could just write it. If they do that refi, they could just write a check for that and be done.
Yeah, it'll still take a few months to set everything up, but yeah, you can put all that money into the account and basically be done. And then the debt's paid off.
And the best part is there's no long-term negative effect on credit. It is not a bankruptcy. It is not credit counseling.
There's no public record. Right,
okay.
At all.
So, but the question would be is, what effect is it going to have on one's credit if there's no payments being made in that first 4 or 5 or 6 months?
Absolutely. Yeah. They'll see a temporary impact on their payment history. So the credit does go down initially, but around 6 months, as long as they keep making their payments on time, they'll start usually showing signs of improvement with their credit profile.
And that, so part of the negotiation isn't that they're going to remove the late payments.
They don't help you remove the lates, but you can do credit repair, right? And I'm sure you have some companies you know of.
Creditsanitizer.com. Our friends over at Blue Water Credit do a great job.
That's a plug.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that we plug people, we just find, hey, we're a program. We're consumer advocates looking for all ways of helping people.
Yeah. And they're not too expensive, I know.
Yeah.
And they can help remove lates usually, and or negative marks off the report. But what's good is once the debt's paid off, it reflects very positively to someone's credit profile because you paid it off.
Yeah. So after a couple of years there, as it keeps on getting better, you're in good shape. We're going to come back and continue our conversation with Josh and Chris. You can reach me time or off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. I'm sorry, Borrow Smart is brought to you by rsrstudentloanhelp.com. All I got to do is look at the bottom of the screen, and Josh puts it there for me. Borrow Smart brought to you by rsrstudentloanhelp.com. As usual, I talk too much, so we're going to only tell you if you've got student loan debt, government debt, not the private debt. Number one, if you've got government student loan debt, do not refinance it into private debt. It's going to hurt you in the long run. Go to rsrstudentloanhelp.com. There are numerous programs that are out there that have already passed Congress. They're not things that the president's proposing or trying to do through an executive order that may end up going through the Supreme Court. These are things that are already law. and they can help you. We've already seen people that have done it the wrong way, and it's costing them thousands and thousands of dollars. By the way, if you did it the wrong way, give a call to Josh and Chris because they might be able to help you. So, but the RSR, studentloanhelp.com, if you've got government student loans, especially if you work as a teacher or a firefighter or a police officer, a nurse, military. And I'll tell you my favorite story. Fraternity brother of mine, he's old, so am I. So we were at Chapman College. He took out student loan debt before he decided to go into the military. Served for 25 years. Got out of the military, and they said, guess what? You got student loans to pay. We said, guess what? He served more than 20 years of public service. All he needed was 10. No debt due. Got to just know how to do it. RSR, studentloanhelp.com. Great service there. Let's get back to our conversation. We are talking about debt consolidation and the new way of doing it. And as you know, if you've been a listener to Ron Siegel Radio, I started doing this show in 2010. I didn't like the debt consolidation product. It was a horrible, horrible product back then. Thankfully, and I'm not a fan of regulation, but thankfully it's gotten regulated and it's gotten better. And there are solutions for you. I know there's a lot of people that hurt because of debts. They don't sleep at night. They turn to alcohol, drugs, divorce, right? There are solutions. Give us a call at 800-306-1990. I will put you in touch. Is it right for you? I don't know. And I'll tell you that all the time. I don't know if a bankruptcy is right for you. I don't know if a debt consolidation loan is right for you. Until we have a chat, how do you know what's right? It's like going to a doctor and saying, hey, doc, can you give me a prescription? He's like, I probably could if I knew what was wrong with you, right? You don't want some heart medication if you got bad knees. It's not going to have a good outcome. So we want to have those conversations. So we're chatting with the guys about resolving debts and a whole different product.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah. So what do you need from somebody in order for that initial consultation?
Primarily, just kind of figuring out the reason behind the debt, making sure maybe they weren't gambling their debt away, right? And that they have an income that they can afford the new payment, right? But it's a huge thing. It's a compliance thing to make sure that
that's a good thing, having the compliance part.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Extremely compliant.
We're very compliant. Yeah, we want to make sure it's affordable because we're not going to put someone in a circumstance that's not going to benefit them, right?
Now, one of the old things that they used to do was, I have a debt with Bank X, and the debt consolidation company calls Bank X on my behalf.
Right.
Yours is a little different than that, right? You're doing pools, so to speak.
There are debt pooling, that's being done in like the millions of dollars. So they may go to Chase or whoever, right? Whatever ex-creditor with not just your debt, they'll go to them with, you and 1,000 other people that have that same bank's debt, and they'll pool all the money together. It's much more attractive to the creditor. Right?
Sure, because now they don't have to call 100 people or 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
They're negotiating with one service or attorney or whoever is doing it on your behalf.
Exactly, in the tens of millions, right?
Right.
And if it's a smaller debt, sure, they don't need to. They may just say, okay, if you owe 1,000, here's 500, right? It doesn't necessarily always go through that pool of money, but it helps the.
But if you're putting a pool together of $5 or $10 or $20 million, there's probably some sort of a relationship going on between the negotiators for both sides.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've actually seen the negotiation process, and it is. I mean, it's run like you and I speaking on a Tuesday. I mean, we're talking about our day, and then let's get to business, and then they settle the debt, and then they'll talk about last night's football game. Mm-hmm. It's incredible where technology is done, and it is all about relationships. And speaking of relationships, when we settle the debt, right before it's settled, the consumers actually call, and we'll tell them, hey, we actually settled your debt today at 48 cents on the dollar. Would you like to settle, or would you like to try for later? And then we'll give a forecast of what we believe it'll be as well.
Yeah, the consumer signs off on it every time. Too.
That's a big difference from what it was before, too.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a whole team process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. greetings from Ontario, Canada. Love to have you from Ontario, Canada, Regis. Glad you're with us today. Don't know if does this work in Canada?
Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe if you have a stateside address or not. Yeah.
Stump the experts here.
Right.
But something it sounds like it's a whole different world for people.
It's completely different. It's
so much better.
I've had clients that tell me I'm not doing that snake oil thing, and it's from something that happened in 2006. And as you know, Ron, the regulations have changed. A
lot of regulations with Dodd-Frank and everything else.
Absolutely. So we're highly regulated. Every single call that we talk to a consumer is monitored. So it's incredible.
And there's some times that I've shared with people that bankruptcy is not a bad option, right? For some people,
correct,
right? But bankruptcy is also, in my opinion, should be a last resort.
I agree with that as well.
Right. Yeah. Josh made a comment before, if you don't have a job and you're getting these calls over and over again and you can't afford even the 50 cents on the dollar or 40 cents on the dollar or 60, whatever it is.
Right.
Go speak to a bankruptcy attorney.
You need
to
talk
help
to an attorney.
you. Right. Get a free consultation.
And many, many times what we see is, if a bankruptcy attorney writes a letter to a creditor and says, hey, something, I've got Mrs. Jones here, and I think the best solution is for her to file bankruptcy. All of a sudden, the creditor might have a different attitude on settlement, right? Because they're looking at getting zero,
correct,
versus getting some percentage.
Absolutely. Yeah. They don't want to walk away without anything.
And as well as with the bankruptcy or credit counseling, the way it codes on your credit report. So this does not. There's no public record of this. So obviously,
so you've just got the
initial
impact on the late payments.
Exactly.
Which the likelihood is, in many instances, by the time it gets to you, they've already got some late payments anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
In many cases,
which is similar to bankruptcy. They've got most people that I've seen. I've been looking at credit reports for many, many decades. Credit scores go up in bankruptcy, right? Because they've got all those debts that have been wiped off. They've got all those late payments that now have to be zeroed off the credit report.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But next, I was at 2 weeks. We're going to have Sarah Perkins is going to be here with Blue Water Credit, and we might chat with her and see what this. This might be we do the RSR 2-step for debt consolidation. This could be a 2-step process also, right? Talk to you guys, get the debts cleaned up, and talk to our friends over at Blue Water Credit. Go to creditsanitizer.com.
Absolutely.
And, have them work on saying, something, we've negotiated this. We've made payments on time. We're in good faith. Give us a little love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Right. I mean, that's, and again, it's all just, they're not doing it saying that you don't have the debt. You guys aren't going in there saying it's not our debt. You're going in there saying, hey, something, you got to follow the law.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Creditors have to follow the law. You guys have to follow the law. So now we've got the American Fair Credit Counseling Act. Is that it?
Yeah, AFCC.
So you got the American Fair Credit Counseling Act with the Fair Credit Reporting Act and all the other ones. So the bottom line is there's a lot of laws that can protect you. I didn't even know about this American Fair Credit Counseling Act until the guys came in this morning. And I do this every day. How about you? Did you know this was there? My guess is you probably didn't, and this might be a solution for you. If you want more information, if you want to have a consultation to see if it is a solution, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with them and see if it works. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.